Unfortunately, bullying is a pretty prevalent thing in schools. At least that's what I hear from parents and teachers. And I think jiu-jitsu is a great tool to handle bullying. And it's because, in general, a bully is going to pick on the weakest of the group or the perceived weakest of the group. They look for someone easy to attack. And jiu-jitsu makes you strong. Jiu-jitsu shows you you're not made of glass. We live in a world where we're so consumed by comfort that we need to actively pursue struggle to develop the strength to handle adversity. And jiu-jitsu is that environment. I think that from ages of 4 to 12, I want everyone in this community to come in and view jiu-jitsu as basic training for their kids, for their lives. You're going to learn the tools to be successful at home and at school. And a big part of that is the physiology of confidence and the self-worth that comes through a worthy struggle. Every class, we talk about standing up tall, chest out, eye contact, and bowing to your partner. And it's a way to show respect, and it's also a way to practice the physiology of confidence. Because if you look confident, you're probably a lot less likely to get bullied. And in having that physiology, your hormones change. You actually, you experience the serotonin and the confidence that comes from that. And I think that's just as important as what's actually happening on the mat, where they're learning the tools to defend themselves. And then you actually are more confident because you know that you're going to be okay. And if you ever actually get in a fight, you have the tools to protect yourself and defend yourself. I know for me, I didn't like the idea that there were people, call it less morally inclined than I am, who could physically hurt me. And I think that was one of the main reasons why I started training. At least that was how I articulated it to myself. And it's funny, as I went further down this art and acquired more skills, I became less and less likely to fight anybody. I've only been in 3 fights in my life, and they were all in a cage in Atlantic City. And I'm more proud of the fact that I haven't fought outside of the ring than the fact that I have. And that's largely in part due to my environment, that I grew up in a community where fighting wasn't part of the culture, where I didn't have to fight for my survival. But nonetheless, it holds true. And it was the confidence I gained in jiu-jitsu which allowed me not only to walk taller and to be capable of fighting, but to pay attention and to avoid those interactions when you're walking down the alley. And that's just as important. Jiu-jitsu gives us an awareness of always solving problems and looking at the potential obstacles and knowing how to navigate them in the most productive way. We have had so much success with kids when it comes to bullying, and we never really explicitly talk about bullying. And that is my fault, and I'm acquiring the education to be very purposeful about it and to give these kids a vocabulary as far as how to handle those social interactions and to explicitly talk about bullying. But I find that the byproduct of jiu-jitsu is even more beneficial. That just by coming in, working hard, and meeting adversity and pushing through, these kids get stronger. And you can't always keep your kids safe, but you can make them stronger. And when you make them stronger, you make them kinder. And we have no problem with our kids being bullies. And we are having less and less of our students actually be bullied. But my goal is that our kids develop the self-worth and the strength and the responsibility that they stop other kids from being bullied. And I think that's what the jiu-jitsu community can offer. If you took every single kid in a community and you put them in a good jiu-jitsu school, in a good culture, where they were taught to work together and respect each other, you'd end bullying in one generation. And that's very abstract and it's romantic, but I think that's possible. I think you could do it. I would love the challenge of taking everyone in Florence, New Jersey, and somehow teaching all of them jiu-jitsu, if I was teaching 16 hours a day, and giving them our philosophies of working well with others to achieve your highest goal by allowing others and helping others do the same. I think we could end bullying right there, because jiu-jitsu is something that it's so humbling. Whatever chips you have on your shoulder get knocked off because you have to fail so many times to get better. And through that failure, you become a little bit more humble. You have a little bit more grace toward yourself and others. And you develop the confidence where you're not going to get picked on, and you're going to have the confidence where you won't feel the need to pick on others. We've had countless successes with dealing with bullies, and I want to be more explicit about it, and we will. But I think just by getting your kid in jiu-jitsu, a lot of it resolves itself. Just by putting someone in an environment that forces their adaptation so they grow into someone who's no longer being bullied. And school and organized education is such a gift. I think we are all so unbelievably lucky to grow up in a culture where we all have access to education, that we all have access to exploring all the different fields of study and seeing what makes sense to us, and then committing ourselves to a field and mastering that field. That's an incredibly rare gift that is new in the timeline of humanity. And for kids to not want to go to school because they're getting bullied, that's awful. They're missing out on something truly special. So it's our job as parents, as instructors, as leaders in the community to actively talk about bullying and give these kids the tools to defend themselves physically, emotionally, socially. And then to help raise our kids to be the sheepdogs that stand up for the sheep, so to speak. Because when you get strength, you could be a wolf or you could be a sheepdog. And the wolf preys on the weak, but a sheepdog protects the weak. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise sheepdogs. And I think jiu-jitsu does that better than any other martial art. And that's why I'll teach it until the day I die. So if your child is getting bullied, get them on the mat. Bring them into somewhere where they can suffer safely and learn and grow. And find a community that supports them. Because I know we're here for our kids. All our coaches are genuinely invested in the well-being of these kids because they're our family and we love them. And find a community that will look out for your kid as if it were their own. And through that and purposeful suffering, the bullying will probably resolve itself. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love jiu-jitsu and I want to spend my life serving others through this medium. If you found these videos worthwhile, please subscribe to the page, like, comment, let us know how we're doing. My goal is that the more we all use jiu-jitsu to mold ourselves on the mat, the better our lives will be off the mat. And then we can be a positive impact on the lives of those around us. So subscribe to this channel if you found it valuable. We're going to put a ton of stuff out here, and we hope it's worthy of your time.